Pod Sound School presents Content Jefe, the podcast that helps online business owners make better content and more money. Let's Jefe up. Hello, amigo, amigazo. Welcome to another episode of the Content Jefe podcast brought to you by the Pod Sound School. I'm Veronica.
And I'm Studio Steve.
And here we teach people how to make content and how to create content marketing systems to help them grow online. We've been doing this for 5 years. We have a business and we are content creators too. So we know a thing of two, and we would love to share those things with you. Mm-hmm. On each episode, we bring you inside the content marketing world so you can make better content and more money. And this podcast is for you. If you're a content creator or a business owner or are curious to know about more of this world of content creation, welcome to another episode. I'm a little emotional. I may cry because I think that this episode, somebody needs this episode.
Yes.
For some reason, is it you?
I think so too.
I think it's you. Mm-hmm. But
it's funny. There was some sad guitar playing. Not sad, but like sort of nice meditation guitar playing before we were getting prepared for this. And Veronica got very emotional. But that same guitar playing was kind of what brought me to the outline of this episode.
Oh, great.
And it's
great.
because, I don't know if it's something obviously we relate to, but this episode is all about, can you make money online? Can you actually maybe do something you love? Is it possible? Is it realistic?
Yeah.
So it's going to be really fun. And we have some actionable steps we're going to share with you. And we have some really good stuff we're going to cover with you. And if you have been thinking like, is this even realistic for me? Or you get FOMO, maybe you are somebody who's working the traditional job, working for somebody else, working for a company.
And you're sitting there watching, oh my God. You're just sitting there watching other people like just creating things and creating the life for them and things like that. And you're just like sitting there watching like, when is it going to be my turn? Well, your turn is going to be after of you watching this episode or listening to this episode. We're going to give you the encouragement that you need. And
yes, and we're also going to get realistic.
The nudge.
This is not going to be, we're going to provide the actionable steps. It's not going to be hypothetical. It's something we've done ourselves, so we know, but we also have clients and students. And so we're speaking from a lot of experience, and we're speaking from a place of love. So this is going to be really fun. I think we should get right to it.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Okay, so I did my best, and I think you would be very proud of my outlining I did for this episode. But I thought that, again, like I wanted to talk about, like, what kind of money are we talking about here? Like, what's real money? And before the episode, Veronica and I were discussing, like, trying to put a number on it. Maybe it's $100,000 a year. Maybe it's whatever it is. But we know that that's going to be different in everybody's situation. So I think what we agreed on here is what's realistic is, do you want some side money coming in? So like an extra $1,000 a month would be really great. Or is this something that you actually think maybe my side hustle could turn into my own business? But then also we wanted to cover a few things in terms of, do you really want to start your own business? Maybe what you're looking for is to just get a better job, to work for a company. And a better job doesn't necessarily mean more money, but just to work for a better company, to do something that at least doesn't feel like
it's killing your soul.
It's killing your soul, right? So I thought we would separate this episode into 3 parts. The first part is this mystifying thing. I want to talk about it, doing something you love, and how we can sort of wrap our heads around that and how we can let go of some of the fear, I think, and some of the insecurities that are built in with that. And then number 2 is I wanted to talk about working for other companies versus working for yourself or starting your own company or starting as like a freelancer. That could be consulting services, coach, whatever. All that stuff is in the category of your own business, even if you're a freelancer. And then, or working for another company. And maybe there's pros and cons to those things. And maybe, like I mentioned, that is, you do just want to get a better job. You're not actually an entrepreneur and you don't want to have the responsibilities or the stress that come with starting your own company. And then 3, I thought the biggest action step for us, and since it is such a specialty of ours here, we are the Pod Sound School, is our company, is podcasting. And I wanted to talk about how people are using podcasting as a way to lean into what they're curious about, as a way to learn more about that thing that they think they love, and as a way to actually start building credibility and building social proof and building a persona and a profile and, trust online with people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Great.
So let's start with number one. So number one is this thing, doing something you love. And here, a big part of the inspiration behind this episode for me was this really great YouTube video on the Future channel. And Future here is spelled without an E. And the founder of Future is Chris Do. Maybe you have seen him. He always has a hat that says like God is a designer or something like that on. Very charismatic, really incredible creator and entrepreneur. Very inspired by this video in particular. And I'll leave the link where you're watching this, but it's actually the video that's the main video on his channel. And that's about this concept called ikigai, which is a Japanese concept that means your reason for being, which I think is really beautiful. So your reason for being, like, why do you exist almost, right? So this is like his whole presentation here in this video is him coming up, sharing with you how you can find your own reason for being or how you can find your own ikigai and how that's how you're going to make more money, make the money you want, have a job that fulfills you, do something you love and all of that. And how he does that is by sharing a 4-circle Venn diagram. And when I said the word Venn diagram, I realized I didn't really know what a Venn diagram is, so I looked it up. A Venn diagram is an illustration that uses circles to show the relationships.
I know.
You knew what a Venn diagram was? Well, you have a higher education than I do, okay? I learned about all the technical things.
No, I went to, I did my schooling in Colombia. That's why.
Oh, okay. Venn diagrams are fun. You seem like a person who really likes Venn diagrams.
Yes, I do.
So the 4 circles of his Venn diagrams, this is a wonderful place to start. And I definitely recommend checking out that video. But with that video, he starts the presentation from the standpoint of you just graduated college. And so that's who the presentation is sort of geared towards. And it made me think like, well, what about those of us who are sort of unfulfilled? We graduated or we didn't, and we bought into this idea that we need to work, right? And we need to work for someone else, and we have our 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And maybe it was towards something we thought we loved, but now that we've been doing it, we realize we don't really love the thing anymore. Or
the older millennials and Gen Zers and
we're ready,
Gen Xers.
We're ready to like choose. And I think sometimes that's actually when that journey takes place for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes after college or whatever, you just have to choose something and start doing it mindlessly for years. And then you wind up having kids or you wind up getting caught up in that whole life. And then you just have to pay the mortgage. You have to pay
the student loans.
You have to pay all that stuff. So really there isn't much room there for your dreams, or there isn't much room for you doing what you love. And then you kind of start feeling like you lose your identity in the process and you lose your ikigai. And you don't even know what your ikigai is. You don't even know what your reason for being is, and that's I think the sad thing and the emotional thing behind this episode that we're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But the 4 circles in his Venn diagram are what you love, what you're good at, what you're paid. And I think the what you're paid, that's kind of like, like what jobs are available, how could you get paid, maybe even how much could you get paid there. And then what the world needs. And he's really proud of that 4th circle because he says you see a lot of Venn diagrams that talk about finding a job where it's like what you're good at, what your talents are, how much it pays, what jobs are available, and what you love, right? And so it's all about like what other people have told us we need to do. That's a lot of that, what you get paid to do. So the idea here is just to make a list in all 4 of these categories. Make a list of everything you love. And it should be a list. And even things not necessarily related to money, like, or a job, but just like, I love eating, I love traveling, like put that there too. Like, what are the things that really light you up? It's funny. This is kind of a similar exercise we run our students through when you're trying to figure out what kind of podcast to start.
Mm-hmm.
But what you love, and then what are you good at? And that's, I think, also really important. And then there's this difference between what a vocation versus a profession. And a vocation is like almost kind of more of our calling, right? It's like something we're naturally good at. That's usually, I think, a better place to lean into because it's going to require less work for us to see the fruits of our labor in something that we're naturally good at. So if you're really good with your hands, if you're really good with it, you know what I mean? Or I know that in our previous episode here, we talked about Vanessa I can't remember her last name.
Edwards,
yes. Vanessa Van Edwards. In an interview I saw with her, she was talking about this as well. And she was saying, biology and what we're naturally good at, maybe what we're born with plays into things. It doesn't mean that you're stuck, but like if you are somebody who is shorter, let's say you're like a man 5'2" or whatever, versus somebody who's 6'7", you're going to have a different experience going into basketball, right? One is going to have to work harder than the other. So that's kind of like looking at, what are you good at? What are you really good at? And make a huge list of that. And then what are jobs that you'd be interested in? What kind of jobs are available? How much do those jobs pay? And then the other big one here is, what does the world need? And I think that's the reason that Christo is so interested in that. And that is kind of the powerful thing I think behind his brand, is that there's this feeling of authenticity and that like really wanting to make a difference in the world. And so I think when you tap into that, it really does give your pursuits in life power. And it really is kind of that secret ingredient that can get you closer to your ikigai, or your reason for being. Because I think that's the reason that we have the FOMO. I think when we look on social media and, with the pandemic and everything else, we see all these people who were forced to quit their jobs. So it also and forced to be remote. So it also happened to be finally that perfect kick in the ass that got us to start the side hustle. Now we see all these people making more money than they could ever dream of. Yeah, and that's what's so exciting about all of this for me, and why I wanted to talk about this so much. I feel like I'm doing way too much talking, as per usual.
Well, do you have any questions? Or?
I do. I'm sorry. I'm a big bag of wind, but I promise I'll get Veronica involved in this. But I'm just so excited because I think it's this amazing time where any imaginable thing that you can think of can really be monetized and can really turn into a lucrative business online. So
you're right.
What action steps do you think, and what ideas do you have with that, with just doing something you love?
Well, a question that came to mind before I answer that about, the actionable steps and that is just that when you say like what the world needs. And for me, that it gives me a lot of stress.
Really?
Yes, because looking at things in terms of what the world needs and like, okay, who am I? Like, I'm just this, mom who lives in a town in North Carolina. So what can I do to save the world or to contribute to the world or things like that? So I just think that when you have to, and this is just my opinion, it's hard for me to find like, okay, what is my contribution to the world? And it can be just something as I don't have to invent something that will help with climate change.
Yeah.
Or with pollution, or big things like that are impacting the world. It can be just something as simple as kindness, that the world needs more kindness, more inclusion, or it can be something that applies to maybe your demographic, maybe the people that look the way that you look. So in my case, it would be I'm a Latina. I'm a first generation Hispanic in this country. Like, how can I make a contribution to this group of people that I can relate to? So I think that's what I was thinking, because I'm like, the world needs so much.
The world needs a lot.
There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of separation. There's
violence,
a lot of
hunger, starvation,
despair. People who are feeling lonely. People who are feeling like they have to, a
lot of mental illness.
Yeah. So it's like, oh my gosh, but if we take it down to the small little contributions that we can make with our business, with our talents, with the thing that we choose to do.
Well,
those have a ripple effect.
Yeah.
They start very little, but they have a ripple effect. And the bigger you get, the bigger your influence, the bigger those waves will become.
Yeah. What I love all of that, because it makes me think in terms of marketing, which is really what I think he was getting at with what the world needs. And this concept of niching down would be to take that same question, what does the world need? And to say, what does the world of single mothers need? Right? Or what is the world of, low income people of this demographic in this state need? Or like, what's your local state that you live in? What does the world of North Carolina need, right? Like, how can I help those people?
Yeah.
And that might help you with those anxieties.
Yeah. Because I think it's just, it makes me feel like, oh my gosh, like, okay, that I can manage and that I can do. And I think it may be like, because I'm a woman too, I think as women, we're struggled with like, oh, what is my contribution? What is my, beyond just being a mom, beyond just being a wife? And like, what is my real contribution? And what is it that important? I think that we're changing that.
Yes.
We're getting into positions of power. There are more and more women who are creating businesses.
Yes.
But going back to your question, so the actionable steps that I would advise somebody who wants to start a side hustle or who wants to
do something they love.
Well, the first thing for me would be, how much time can I dedicate to this new project that I'm going to launch? Because the importance of it is for you to be consistent and for you to do it for a certain period of time to really see the results and to gather data. So realistically, how much time, how many hours a week can you dedicate to this? If you have kids, if you have a family, then when is that going to happen? Is it going to happen on the weekends? Is it going to happen after you put your kids down to bed? When are you going to get it done? And then after that, it will be the other important aspect, which is the economic or the financial aspect of it. And I think you had some very good insights regarding the financial side of it.
The financial, you mean the investment?
Investment, and also having a plan if you are thinking about quitting your job.
Yes.
Or if you're thinking about maybe quitting your job and finding a job somewhere else that fulfills you. I think it goes down to time, money, and freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom of space, freedom of being able to, I don't, since I run my own business, I can run it from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And freedom of time is like, okay, since I work for myself, is I can do it whenever I feel that I'm more productive or I'm the most productive during the day. And financial freedom is, and those things come with entrepreneurship.
They do. And financial freedom comes with entrepreneurship. And one of the things that we also discussed before this episode is like, Veronica thought a really good action step was to get yourself out of debt. And I thought to myself, well, yes, definitely, because being in debt makes it harder to have free time because we have to pay our bills, right? But also sometimes it's actually the entrepreneurial pursuits that finally get us out of debt, right? And so I think it's better to get started immediately with content creation, basically, is the best way to get started. And we're going to get to that at the end with getting started with podcasting, because starting with the podcast is the least intimidating. It's the least expensive, and it's the easiest, especially if you don't have a camera at first and it's just audio podcasting. That stuff's easy, and it's our jam, and we can help you do that very easily. We have the best courses in the industry about teaching people how to start a podcast. So, if you want to learn more about that stuff, you can go to podsoundschool.com and you can learn more about our online courses and stuff.
Hey, I'm interrupting the episode for a little announcement. You know you have to create content to attract more prospects online, but the whole thing seems daunting and too much to figure it out on your own. Which social media platform should I choose? Should I start making videos for IG Reels, TikTok, or YouTube? What skills do I need to learn? What equipment do I need? Or maybe you're considering starting a podcast for your business. And if any of that's the case, we want to invite you to sign up for the waitlist for Smart and Simple Podcasting. It's our first coaching program where we, the Pod Sound School, will be teaching you how to create and launch a professional podcast from scratch. Content marketing, so your content is a lead generation machine for your business, and different ways to maximize every time you record so you can create micro pieces of content that will go on different social media platforms. We'll be holding your hand through the whole process, meeting weekly with you, making sure that you're not getting left behind. We'll be teaching students and clients about podcast and video production and marketing for 4 years. Our approach to teaching is straightforward, innovative, and fun. So hurry up and go to podcastingsmart.com/waitlist to sign up or find the link in the description of this episode. Stop working so hard on your content. Make your content work for you. Now back to the episode.
I love where you're going with everything you just said. It was really great. And I think that basically, again, the best place to start for me is to make a list. And then like Veronica said, like, look, also make a list of when is this going to happen? How much money is this going to take me?
Mm-hmm.
What equipment do I need? What new expertise do I need?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that you can start doing as a preliminary thing, which you're already doing because you're watching a business podcast or listening to a business podcast, and that is to start educating yourself in business.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of watching Netflix on the weekends, because what happens is when we work so long on something we don't love, we become, as Christo says in his same video, weekend warriors. And so what we love is the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we love is our weekends, right? And is our free time. And we basically like waste time or have too much wine or whatever it is on the weekends. And so instead, it's like just start listening to, business-minded podcasts and then learning as much as you can about business.
Yeah.
And that would be sales, productivity, and we're always recommending books on those as well, and also mindset stuff.
Yeah, and I know that, entertainment, like sometimes you just want to sit down and watch a mindless show.
You have to. You need that. You need
but
that.
Just think about it in terms of the time that you are investing. If you spend your Saturday, let's say you binge watch a show or you watch movies and you are doing this for 4 hours, 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday. Just let's just I'm going somewhere with this.
I like it.
So after 6 months or a year of you doing that, then you're just gonna go back and look and see, wow, I watched this many shows, and you may share that with your family and your coworkers. Oh yeah, I watched that show. Oh yeah, so and so died, or oh yeah, so and so.
And it's fun to share those things.
It's fun to share those things. But what if instead of spending those 4 hours on the weekend watching shows, then you spend it learning how to edit video or learning about business or recording your podcast and publishing episodes.
Which is enough time.
Then at the end of 6 months, at the end of a year, then you're going to look back and see a catalog of content that you created,
of intellectual property that you own,
that you yourself created. And not only that, if you interview people, then you'll be at a different place, believe me, because you're going to have the connections, you're going to have the inspiration, you're going to have all the paths in your brain already, because it takes just one conversation with somebody that can open your eyes and show you, oh, this is how it's done.
And
then
this is
your
how it's
neural
possible.
paths,
Your
all
neural
of this
pathways.
all of this done, and then they start forming, and then you have accumulated skills, connections, ideas.
Yeah.
You have connected with very interesting people, and now that's going to take you to the next thing you want to do, which can be making money with what you're doing, getting into a business partnership with somebody, instead of looking back and be like, okay, I watched this many shows. So you just contributed to Netflix.
I was the weekend warrior, and, and I raised my kids, and I did all my due diligence as far as parenthood, and I'm a great employee. I'm so good. Like I'm obviously one of the best people in my company. They totally underappreciate me and underpay me. And if I left, I know the company would fall apart, at least for a brief period of time. But, I do my due diligence, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's just planting these seeds. Like Veronica said, she said it so perfectly. We're going to get to some real cool actionable steps as far as content creation. But what I wanted to say here is this is actually easier than it may sound once you make one of these lists. When you're making lists, that category of what I'm good at has to do with like your life experiences. And every single one of your life experiences, every single one of your failures, embarrassments, like everything that you've been through becomes something that can be really valuable in terms of making money online. And also in terms of positioning yourself as a more valuable employee, maybe for a new company you might want to work for. So I think this is, I really love what we talked about with doing something you love, and I wanted to spend some time there. But now let's move on to what I was saying really quickly and talk about the differences between working for other people versus working for yourself only. And so that we can help anyone who's listening to this, we can help you or watching this. This is a video podcast on YouTube and Spotify as well, to answer the question, like, do I really want to start my own business? So I see everyone online doing it. I know there's a ton of money there doing it, but do I want to start my own business, or do I really just want to go work for some cool companies? And here, the reason I like this idea is because this creator economy that's emerging, and all, like, so many new businesses, awesome businesses have emerged. So, I mean, for example, you could work for the Pod Sound School. You can come work for us. We're a really cool company, you know? And as we grow, we're actually going to be able to hire like key players to our company. Right now, we work with freelancers, which is awesome too. And being a freelancer and stuff. So what do you think about those two differences, Veronica? Like, how can you figure out which one is right for you? And like, what do you think about that, those two different jobs? And now that you've been an entrepreneur for a while, would you go back, or would you like to work for another company, or what do you think?
So I think there's plenty of people out there who are very happy in their jobs, working a 9 to 5, and they feel very fulfilled, but they still feel like there's something missing. They want to get into a creative project, and that's why the podcasting will be so cool, because they can have time for both. They don't have to quit their jobs to become a full-time podcaster. They can like build their presence online and their influence, and interview interesting people and follow their curiosity and their creativity. And it's just a great project to get into. But if you are unfulfilled in your job, then there may be a few things that you should consider. And that is, are you unfulfilled because the place that you're working at is just not for you, and you feel like you can just go out there and find a better company to work for? Or is it because you have this entrepreneurial soul that was shattered
when you were a child?
When you were a child, and somebody told you, no, that's not for you. This is the path for you. This is what you should do. You should work for somebody else, and this is how you make money. But you feel that, no, that I can do. Like, how cool would it be to run my own business? How cool would it be, once again, to have the time freedom, to have control of how much money I make, and just have the possibility of making 5 times more, 10 times more of what I'm making, because I'm the one who decides. And also the location aspect of it. Like, how can I travel? I can be at home with my kids. I don't have to miss my kids coming back from school.
I think one of the biggest things that, if I remember back 5 years ago when we started all of our endeavors, was that at your corporate lawyer job, that you got like 2 weeks of vacation.
I just have to be away so much from home.
Yeah, well, not only that, like you have family, and we have family in Colombia. We want to go there and visit our family for more than 2 weeks out of each year, hopefully, you know? And so it's like, what kind of freedom is that?
What kind of freedom? And then, like in my case, and I think there is the same for a lot of people, like you just put your everything into a job. Like you just give it your best, and you want to succeed, you want to excel, you really want to help the company. You are a really good employee. Then you go home and you're like, I did all that work or not even for me. Yeah. It wasn't for me. It was for somebody else's business. So what if you can put all that energy, all that love, all that talent into your own thing? That's huge.
Yeah, it is huge, because at the end, when it's all said and done, when we're all old and gray and we're empty nesters and our kids have gone away, we've built something, and we've at least leaned in towards our curiosities. That's what's so, I think, valuable about content creation and podcasting, and just getting out there online and start planting. That's what we're really talking about, is building intellectual property, building assets. If you look at generating wealth, it really is about assets that can work for you, right? It's not about any financial coach. And we are not financial coaches. That's not what we specialize in. But they will tell you that working for time is never a way that you're going to get rich or get wealthy, is trading your time for money.
Yeah.
But I love what you just described there because, and we've talked about this before, that is where we're all kind of at. That's what starts us, is this from the book, The E-Myth, which is an old book, The Entrepreneurial Seizure. We've talked about that in a previous episode. But then what happens if we're not careful and if we don't really strategize enough, or if we don't sort of see the bigger entrepreneurial picture behind a lot of what we're doing, is we wind up just building a way for us to work and share time. And I love the example we were talking about before this episode of your grandma, because I said, well, your grandma's an entrepreneur. And Veronica said, no, she's not. Well, the little context there, Veronica's grandma is a seamstress. And I don't know if that's the right term or not, but that's what you refer to her as. And she's great. She's wonderful. And we've told stories about her company before too. But the reason that Veronica says she just owns her own business but isn't an entrepreneur is because she's not thinking in terms of, ooh, I know 2 girls down the street who could come work for me, and then I could, and the growth and everything else.
Why do you have to bring my grandma?
I don't know. Damn it. Well, maybe that's why you're so emotional, And it's all about mindset, right? It's all about like what we think is possible. And so, that's really what we're getting at, is that human feeling that we all have of wanting to be seen, wanting to feel important.
Wanting to experience joy.
And
because I think, like, going back to my grandma's example, is you see all these people like, like make $1 million in a year, they hustle and then work so hard, but ultimately is what works for you. And if you were to talk to my grandma, it's like she would tell you, I have everything I need.
Oh, she's so happy.
Like, she's one of
the epitome of happiness.
She's like, right? So she
in
doesn't.
In a very poor neighborhood, but just the epitome of happiness, right? And she's got her business and she's got her loyal customers.
Blowing things out of proportion, like following our business advice, that would be like bringing more stress to her life. And extracting the joy that she has for her little business. Yeah. So I think it comes down to that, like what makes you like you, Veronica, you, Steven, what makes you happy, what brings you joy, is the fact that you have more time and you don't want to kill yourself, and then you just make this much money a year, and that you're not gonna be a multimillionaire, but you're okay with that.
Yeah. If you have your ikigai, if you find that reason for being, right? I love that concept. If you find something that you can, and that's really kind of what we're all searching for. Like, I want to feel like I'm contributing something, leaving a legacy, or at least like just that I'm doing something unique to me and that I'm being seen. And so that's just a little bit of our own thoughts on it. And maybe that gave you some insights. What do you think about this? Do you see yourself as being an entrepreneur? Let us know in the comments right where you're watching or listening to this podcast. We'd love to hear and
follow
learn
my
more
grandma's
about you.
example.
Yes. But I still think like it's a life experience too, right? And it's what people have been telling us all along. And you were just talking about that too, your socioeconomic background and where you began, right? It's like you see a lot of entrepreneurs talk about how, they've been wanting to sell things their whole life. And, I've always been interested in business because I was always trying to do that. And I can relate to that too. I was selling cologne to kids in the locker room at a young age at a markup price. And I had maybe not the most...
I don't want to ask you where you get the cologne.
Where I got the cologne? Yeah. Okay, well, let's just say that the cologne was coming from a place that wasn't the most ethical, okay?
But, at least it wasn't pot.
I wasn't selling pot. I wasn't selling, but I was selling some cologne that I got, and I was selling it for like $20, $40 a bottle, which was great. And for a teenager to have that amount of money. But anyways, what I'm saying is Veronica didn't really have that entrepreneurial experience.
No, in my case was you work for somebody else. And then somebody else is going to tell you how much you're worth.
Yeah, and you're going to trade time for money.
And even in my case, it was just not even go get the education, because my family, they didn't go to college. I don't think they even finished high school. Yeah. So for me to having these dreams of going to college and get my degree in industrial engineering, and then after that, then going to law school, they couldn't comprehend, like, what is she doing? Like,
and why are you wasting your time?
Like, why are you wasting your time? Just go get a job.
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you make your money. But
Yeah, and so I think at the same time, if you look,
that's different. So you have the entrepreneurial. I don't have it.
so
But
is it a thing
I'm
about
still
like a white
working
boy
on
in
it.
suburban America that allows you to be able to have the freedom to have those entrepreneurial experiences when you're a kid? And I don't think you need to compare yourself to other entrepreneurs, is what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's interesting because if you look at your grandma as well in her time period, that those concepts were even more enforced than they were in your time period, and then even now than they are now. So
Mm-hmm.
of course she's not going to have any entrepreneurial dreams. But the other big takeaway from that is that it might not be your thing. And you might not just want to build another business for yourself where you just work 40 hours a week and you still have to just grind out and grind out and grind out. And so the suggestion there, or the actionable step there, is to read books like The E-Myth, or is to read business books. Books in sales are also really good. A favorite of mine is Sales EQ. I think it's just a must read for any business owner.
Or the personal MBA.
Oh, the personal MBA.
It's a must
Oh my
read.
gosh. If we could go back 5 years and just read that one book, the personal MBA, what were we thinking? We were getting into business and we didn't even think we needed to read a book about business.
No.
It was crazy. I mean, we're really smart in our own fields, but we'd never done business before. So you're going to have to learn about business. And it's just as simple as putting on some audiobooks while you're driving around, while you're, doing the dishes or whatever.
Yeah.
But now where I'd really like to pivot and move this to is okay, how can I get started and how do I even know? And this is what I think is I don't know. It just feels like for me, our calling so far.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this is why we do what we do. And it's podcasting, which is crazy because sometimes I have different relationships with podcasting. And as a podcast coach and being someone who's seen so many of our students come out with a podcast and then just abandon it completely, or just see people who like start a podcast for the wrong reasons and don't get the results they need. And then like looking at the state of the podcast players and how to perform and how to get more downloads and all that stuff. Sometimes I've developed I have a up and down relationship with podcasting, I can say. But at the same time, like if you just get me talking about it, I get so emotional about it because I've also seen it change people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about a lot of people. And that's just not to mention our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be living where we were. We wouldn't have the financial freedom we have. We wouldn't have anything that we have right now if we hadn't started a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You would still be working your corporate gig, and I would still be being underpaid for my creative talents as a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's incredible. And that's why I want to urge you to think about that. And it doesn't have to be podcasting, it could be content creation. But the idea here is that, and it could be blogging if you're more into writing, is to also look at those things. And I want to talk about that just a little bit, about like how you can get started with a podcast and why we already hit on it, but we couldn't help it, why it's such a good idea. When we were preparing for this episode, also Veronica mentioned, if you already have, what are your expertise? And again, go back to that list again, because you can use some of those expertise to advance and to make the rite of passage, this rite of passage, which is this period of time that you'll be operating at a loss or that you won't really be making profit for your money. And that's really the purpose of this episode, is to answer the question, how long? You guys have been talking for a while now. Can you please tell me, how long is it going to take me? Like, I need to know how I can plan. I want to quit my 9-to-5. I actually do. Or I at least want to just start bringing in more money, because I haven't been able to pay off any of my debt with my 9-to-5. And I'm definitely not going to get the boat, or I'm definitely not going to be able to take my kids to Europe, or I'm definitely not going to be able to, do any of these amazing things I want to do to really fulfill the promise of this episode. I think that it's a long-term game. It's something you have to start planting seeds. I would say to choose 1 or 2 or 3 platforms max, if you're just doing it solo, to start planting pieces of content on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need one long form piece of content, which is why podcasting is so great, or blogging, and then little short form pieces of content like the vertical videos that you see. Don't worry, it's not crazy. We have different episodes and content that will help you get started with content creation. It's not as hard as it seems. It really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as baffling, and you could do it right now. I promise. I swear. I would say the average time before you're going to start seeing any kind of profit is going to be anywhere between 2 to 5 years even. I think some people can do it as quick as 1. And like if you have this business background, you're going to be able to do it in a year. You could start making some profits. And it also, you have to be creative about it though. Like look at all of your possibilities and be creative. The more creative you are and the more you're able to pivot and the more you're able to put together your own expertise towards it, the quicker you'll be able to make profit. But sometimes the journey itself is profitable. So it doesn't matter. The key is to be committed, is to look at things in terms of years. So right now it's 2023. You're going to start now this year. You're going to start making content somewhere. And then you're going to commit to keep making content until 2027 or 2025. And by the time 2025 rolls around, the time's going to pass anyway. And you will have just been watching those Netflix shows and you will have just been doing those things. You may as well just let the time pass. And now you have a following. Now you have social influence. Now you have a whole library of content where you own it.
Yeah. The fastest way for you to start making money, for you to start making profit, or what will determine how much time it's going to take is the skills that you have and the ability for you to turn those skills into something that is going to solve a problem for an audience and the current demand that audience has for that particular thing that you're going to be creating with your skills. And then also your ability to communicate that offer for that group of people and how specific you are communicating that offer. It's all about the demand and offer. And when you create something that people are needing, that people are searching for, then you will be able to monetize. You will be able to start making money quicker than the other way around. So that's the key. That's why content creation, that's why podcasting is so important, is because you will be able to test the demand, the market demand for something that you want to create, instead of spending months and years creating something that you don't know if it's gonna sell, that you don't know if people will receive it. Then you can start creating content, testing the waters of testing the market, and then you'll be able to know if that idea is going to be a good idea without investing too much time and money and resources creating something in the dark.
I love this. And I think that has been your, Veronica, your theory, your hypothesis all along with all of this. And it's that Veronica looks at each piece of content as market research. And I love that. I love that concept. And it's been so powerful for us. And I think that's how you could look at it. You're just conducting market research. And without market research, and even a little keyword research, but without the market research, you are just shooting in the dark, which means it's going to take a lot more darts before you hit the bullseye, right? And so darts are effort, darts are time, darts are years, darts are experiments, right? And so if you can be strategic and find the strategy, well, the strategy doesn't really come from your hypothetical thinking as much as people like me, Stephen, would like to think. If success was based off of how much you talk and pace back and forth, I'd be one of the most successful people in the world. But it's not. It's the hypothetical thinking, the planning, the scheming, all of that might even be tied in with your own fears and your own insecurities. And you might just be sort of self-sabotaging and just continuing to hold yourself back from taking action, execution, and commitment, committing to doing the thing. And it's building your own world, building your own content. How cool is that? Having a library of content, and it could be in anything you're interested in. You lean towards what you're interested in. You are okay with failure. You're okay with being like, oh man, being uncomfortable. You're okay with like, just forget about what people think about you. Forget about what your neighbor or what your family members are going to think about you. All of a sudden starting a podcast, blindly ignore all that stuff and just stay focused, stay laser focused on the fact that you are leaning toward your true life calling. You are moving toward making a difference in whatever size of community you want to imagine.
Yeah. Find mentors, find coaches, find role models, people who have paved the way for you. It can be us. It can be somebody else. It can be, what's the name of Chris
Do?
Chris Do. It can be Chris Do. It can be, there are so
everyone.
many incredible people creating companies, creating businesses
Yeah,
out
and
there.
we're all sharing the same knowledge. We're all gaining the same knowledge together. We're all sharing the same experience. So you can curate the knowledge of other people, much like I did with Chris Do. I didn't just what's that word? What do you call it when you copy something completely?
Make that up?
No, plagiarism.
Oh.
So it's not like I just plagiarized Chris's body of work or in this episode, but I used the knowledge that I gained from him, the experience that I had from his episode to share it with you and to put my own spin on it and to find our own value here with what we do with our podcast. You can do the same thing. Yeah. You don't have to be an expert. It's so many times we think like we have the FOMO, we want to do the thing, but why would anybody listen to me? Because, I'm not an expert in the thing. There's no way I could help the whole world.
I don't have the credentials.
I don't have the credentials. You do. It doesn't matter where you've
been.
If
you don't have the credentials, if you don't have the knowledge, you can still create content. The way that you do it is that you curate from other people who have the credentials, there's a lot of smart people out there that you can interview. What you're doing is that you are curating all this information and resources for your audience. And that as a listener, as somebody who consumes content is so valuable.
It is.
That somebody takes the time to point you towards the resource that you need.
The book that you
needed.
And so many people, you look at just content creators like crazy. The more you get out there and start doing market research and competitor analysis and just start making content, these things happen naturally. All of these things will come to you. You will be an expert in content creation. You will. You're an expert in everything you've ever spent time doing. You just have to spend time doing it. So get started today in one way or another. You're not going to know. That's my big takeaway from this is the only way that you're going to know if you should just find a better job or if you should start building something for yourself online is to start experimenting. And we're here to help you with that.
Yeah.
That is the calling. That's the purpose behind our company, Pod Sound School.
If it's not us, find somebody else that you have a chemistry. I don't know why would you choose me.
Come on. And we're so excited. In 2023, we have been at teaching podcasting for so long. And the course that we are almost finished with, we've had to throw it in the trash 3 or 4 times and pull it back out of the trash and then throw it back in the trash and like redesign it a bunch of times because we have realized so much from working with students how to simplify the process. And we know firsthand, but also with working with students, the pain and the fear and the discomfort and, feel like an imposter, first getting in front of a microphone, first getting in front of a camera. So we know how to just push you out there. We actually do. We know how to just get you started, push you out there when you're uncomfortable and just get you creating. One of our specialties. And we'd love to help you on that journey because really, you're not watching this unless you've asked the question, could I really make money for myself online? And the answer is yes. It's insane. People share with us the companies that they have and the things that they sell and how much money they're making. And I get my mind blown all the time. The more stories that you hear about this, because it's like, what even is that? Like, so hyper specific, the things that you can make insane money for. You just have to start leaning into it and your life will change. So that's it. That's all I have for this episode.
Yeah. That's a great episode. Thank you.
It was fun. Okay. Well, in the meantime, Hefe up. Come follow us. Veronica's on Instagram at Pod Sound School.
POD Sound School.
Yes. Not Pot Sound School or Bad Sound School, which is really sad.
We also have another YouTube channel, Pod Sound School too.
Yep.
And there we teach you everything you need to know about content creation. We teach you about podcasting, video editing,
graphic design,
how to start a podcast, how to start a YouTube channel, content creation.
All sorts of good stuff.
How to make money.
That's a great resource. If you want to subscribe to that channel, you get notifications if you subscribe and hit the bell and all that stuff. But if you do, then you can just get those notifications and you might find something you're interested in if we hit you that week with some good content.
Yeah.
Some weeks you might not relate and other weeks you might.
Thank you, Hefe. Oh, you were not done with
I was done, yeah. Thank you.
Hefe up.
Hefe up.